Hi guys, welcome to Unscripted with Amal. My name is Amal Kansime. Welcome to the first official video of 2026. And I am here with you guys, a medical doctor who has given me so much luzungu, but he's a medical doctor. He has been a therapist for psychiatrist, for 5 years. And he's amazing. From what I've heard from a lot of, just not that I go stalking his clients, but what I've heard is that he's a very good psychiatrist. So I decided to have him as my first guest on Unscripted with Amal after 6 years. Welcome, Agaba.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming.
I love to do this.
Because this is the first episode of Unscripted with Amal. So you're the first guest.
Quite the honor.
Yes.
Quite the honor. Yeah.
So now, for you guys that may not know, for those that have been following me on Instagram, you may know, but for those that don't know, I'm a recovering addict and I have been to rehab. I don't know. I think my name is Epic on our list.
Yeah.
Because I've been to rehabs and today I want to talk about the science of addiction.
Yeah.
To talk about, the science of addiction, because we see people, the people that say, how come this one drinks every day and they're okay, and this one drinks for 2 years and they're shattering? Because I started drinking like a lot when I came back to Uganda in 2020. And then I discovered a brand, I won't mention the brand, a certain brand had become very popular and they had all these flavors and I would drink them. And by the time I went back to Lagos, because Lagos people don't drink that much.
Okay.
When I went back to Lagos, I was different now because I was drinking and I found gin and I had like body image issues. I wanted to lose weight and I had that gin can help you lose weight. Trust me, I lost the weight. I became skinny. I was so happy with myself, but I was sick.
Yeah.
I was so sick. So I want you, first of all, introduce yourself.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. Again, thank you for having me.
And pleasure.
Quite the honor to be the first of 2026.
Yes, first after 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's big. Great. So I am Dennis Agaba. I am a medical doctor and I am a psychiatrist. So I specialized in mental health, everything to do with the mind. I am happily married.
Keyword, happy.
Yes, indeed. Happily married. We make 5 years in July.
That's cute.
Yes. We have 2 little babies.
You're a dad.
Yes, I am.
Are they girls?
A girl and boy.
A girl.
Yes.
You're going to protect that girl. Man,
I definitely will.
When she starts dating,
will.
When she starts dating at 13, call me. I'll be the ad.
Noted. I'll keep you in the loop. Yes, I work at Ruaka Hospital currently. That's where I am based. And I love the mind and I love helping people walk through darkness to the light.
I love that. I love that darkness to the light. So now I want to first ask, what is it about addiction? The first question that I think is on everyone's mind is, how come some people get addicted and some don't?
Okay.
What is the science behind that?
Okay. I think it begins first by understanding what an addiction is. And I like to begin by demystifying the thought that addiction is a choice. So for many people, they think, why don't you just stop?
Yeah.
You're doing this to yourself, and which is not actually the case. Addiction is not a choice. Addiction is an illness. It's a disease, no one ever tells you, why do you have malaria, right?
Right.
It's so essentially addiction is a brain disease, an illness of the mind. And it's the science behind it ultimately is that your body, there are certain chemicals within the brain.
Yes.
Okay. Let me begin there.
Yeah.
I hope I don't get too science.
I know.
So
Speak the English.
Feel free to bring me back.
Let me learn. Crackum.
Feel free to bring me back if I dive into it. So we have particular chemicals within the brain that participate in what is known as the reward pathway of the brain, essentially. So when you're happy, right, the chemicals are produced in your brain. Think of dopamine, for example. That is the one, when it's activated in the mind, you feel pleasure. Yeah. Now, addiction occurs when you get to a point where your body stops depending on natural dopamine and is now dependent on artificial sources of
Dopamine.
which could be alcohol, which could be any of the other substances that are psychoactive.
But is it everyone? Because
Yes.
what I heard, like, it's not everyone that
Yes,
gets addicted.
I agree.
I think it's like for some people there. I'm just asking. For some people, their dopamine is like it's released, but it's in small doses. So the moment you activate a drink or whatever you're addicted to, like your dopamine is released in a flash.
Yeah. Well, okay. So maybe the question that you're asking, right?
Yeah.
Why do some people get addicted and others do not?
Yes.
Okay. So first and foremost, again, like I mentioned, you have to understand the reward pathway of the brain, and to understand that for people who are addicted, they are dependent on the substance to activate that particular pathway. But what I wanted to mention at that point is this pathway is core to our existence as human beings. Okay. So that pathway has to continuously be activated. Okay. Now, for the people that have, let me call it trauma, right?
Yeah.
And that's a very light, it's a word we've misused quite often in this kind of culture. But if there are particular situations that somebody is going through that make it harder for them to naturally stimulate the reward pathway, those people are going to be more likely to be dependent on an external source, as compared to those who have other natural ways in which they produce or they stimulate the reward pathway.
So that's why some people get it.
Let me give an example.
Okay.
And this is a study that was done a couple of years back that helped us to understand addictions. They were studying mice. And
mice?
Yes. Or rats.
I know someone with rats in the house. Come on.
So they were studying rats, and we learn a lot from rats whenever we're trying to understand some of this. So anyway, they were studying rats. So this particular scientist, so he puts this rat in a particular cage, and then there was a particular lever which, if the rat stepped on, they would get a shot of a particular drug. And what he noticed over time is that rat kept going back and going back and going back until eventually it became addicted. Then so then what he thought at the time was anyone who uses the substance is going to get addicted.
Yeah.
And so that was initially the understanding of it. Now, another scientist a few years later recreated that same experiment, but what he did was he put not just one rat, but multiple rats in the same cage.
I love how we're talking about rats.
Okay. Then he put other things within the cage. The hamster wheel, right? So,
okay.
So other things that the rats could typically do to be happy, right? So he put food in one corner. He put playing things. They say, I don't know what games rats play, but playing things for the rats. And he also put the same lever where they could go and get this particular drug. And what he noticed was none of the rats in his experiment got addicted. Because they had other things.
Because when I look at people,
and so just to conclude,
I'm sorry.
What we see is people who are going through difficult times, people who are depressed, people who are dealing with anxiety, people who have lots of issues and don't have the right support system around them to help them navigate through those issues, which means already their reward system is on a deficiency, put it that way. They're the ones that are most likely to get addicted because this becomes the only way in which the body can stimulate that part of the mind. And so the body becomes dependent on that thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why for people who, for example, have, loving families, a good job, they have friends, they have co-curricular activities, those people are less likely to get addicted as compared to the guys who are struggling financially, have, chronic illnesses, have all these other difficult things that are going on. Those are the guys that are most likely to end up with addiction.
Well, wow. That's a lot. So what are the early signs that someone is developing an addiction?
Yeah, okay, very good. So yes, addictions don't come overnight. Yeah, I don't. I took a drink yesterday and I'm addicted. No.
Yeah.
It's something that really happens over time, and there are indeed some telltale signs that can show that someone is getting into an addiction. And I would say number one, the person who is getting addicted needs more of the substance to achieve the same feeling that they had in the beginning. So, for example, if it's alcohol, right? Initially, I take one bottle and I'm irate, right? I'm happy, I'm high. Okay. After a short time, one bottle doesn't do it. Now I need two. Then, before I know it, I need 4. I need 5. I need 10. So we call that tolerance. When you see that you need more of the substance to get the same effect that you were getting before, that's a sign that you're beginning to.
But no, speaking as a person that used to drink, what happens? Because there's a point when you keep increasing the amount you're taking, like 1, 2, 3. But there's a point where you get to like maybe 5. 5 bottles get me in. Then your tolerance drops. Now, when you drink 5, you get drunk. When you drink 4, you get drunk. When you drink 3, like whatever, it seems like whatever you do, you're getting drunk. What's going on at that point? I don't know if you know, like, because for some people, it happened to me. Like no one had ever seen me drunk. In Lagos, no one had ever seen me drunk. In Kampala, no one had ever seen me drunk. But when I came back finally, and I was doing the same drinks that I was doing, suddenly, like, boom, I can't remember the night before. I can't. So what happens at that point?
Well, of course, I'd want to ask a bit more questions.
Yeah, ask me.
Were you sticking to one type of drink?
Trust me, one type of drink. Gin. Yeah, gin. I didn't mention the brand.
And from the very beginning, that's all you were taking?
That's what I started taking when I came back to Uganda during lockdown. And when I went back to Lagos, I started gin because I heard gin has 0 calories. So I wanted to lose weight. So I did that.
Were you taking something else before?
I was taking vodka, whiskey as shots. But then at that time I wasn't addicted. So I was a social drinker. Whatever is on the table, I'll take. Yeah.
So essentially what happens, again, ultimately now we're speaking about a deeper layer of biochemistry within the brain, because each of these
Luzungu coming. I'm ready.
Each of the different substances will activate the systems differently again. So also it depends on what it is that you're taking. Some of these substances have a higher effect, a higher potency, if I could use it. You need less amounts of less volumes of that drug to get you to the level to activate the brain the same way that a certain amount of a different brand or type of alcohol would. So many times that may happen because maybe I'm taking something stronger, or now my body has sort of has changed essentially. So, it sort of activates much faster than it was before.
Now I want to jump into something. When parents are when parents are seeing their child drinking and messing themselves up, it almost seems like in Uganda it doesn't seem like they take you lovingly to rehab. It seems like they throw you there.
Yeah, true.
True. So I want you to speak a bit about, like, because one of my life goals is to open up not a rehab, but like a transition home. Like after rehab, where you can go to like a halfway home, basically. That's what I want to have. And because I feel like rehab it's great, but not all rehabs are great.
True.
So what do you have to say about rehabs? Because it almost seems like it's just a business for them.
Yeah. And it's quite unfortunate. I mean, I think up until 2018, 2019, when the new Mental Health Act was passed, rehabilitation centers were not classified as health centers. What that means is that you did not need to have a trained mental health person to actually open a rehab. And so majority of the rehabs that we're running, we are not actually run or did not have psychiatrists or clinical psychologists in those facilities.
You know, because
And
I
so-
won't mention the rehab, but like it makes sense because the people that were at some rehab where I was, the people that were treating me didn't seem like they were trained.
Yeah.
It
it's
seemed
quite
like they just
unfortunate.
jumped out of a forest and started.
Yeah. So it's been unfortunate because of that. Many people have not actually been getting rehabilitation. So because it's a very, addiction science is quite complicated, and it takes a lot to help someone come out of an addiction, and you
Yeah.
have to be trained. We were talking very briefly about
Yes.
the kind of training that I've had to go to be able to.
Because you're actually trained. You've been a medical
Yes.
doctor,
Yes.
and then you decided to go into psychiatry.
Yes. So I did 5 years of med school, undergraduate. Then I went for
But then
an
you asked
extra
most
3 years.
most therapists here, what's your training?
Yeah.
I love people. You can't.
No, that's not training.
It's not training.
Yeah.
You get because you don't know how to.
You
handle
need
me.
to understand how the brain works. You actually need to
Exactly.
understand. There's a whole science behind this. This is not just, again, it's quite unfortunate. There's a lot of ignorance, and I think going back to your question, why do most parents just dump their kids there? They don't really know what's happening, and many times they think that it's something you're doing to yourself. They think you're not being
why
serious.
can't you just I've
They
how many
think
times
that
I've heard
sometimes
why
it's
can't
it's a
you
form of
just stop?
punishment, and it's not a choice, guys.
You get like I've heard it so many times. Why can't you just stop? I've heard people telling me, why don't you just pray? I pray.
Yeah,
I pray. I believe God can help, but like
I like to ask those guys, right? When your child has malaria, why don't you tell them
to pray.
to pray?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. I've actually also asked people that. Like when you have malaria, why don't you take me to church?
Thank you.
Take me to church. No, you take me to church for malaria. And let the mosquito come back and remove it's a virus.
That's what you're parasite. Yeah.
Parasite. And
I got you today. I got you.
You got me. You got me. But like I feel like because when I was going through it, I would feel like I would be on autopilot mode.
Yeah.
Like something would trigger me.
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes it's something close to you. Like,
Yeah.
you feel like something, even just this morning, like something triggered me. And I just had to make a choice.
Yeah.
I had to make a choice that I'm not going to do it. But before, something would trigger me and I'll be like, you know what? And I would say black.
Yeah.
Like, and I believe I'm the smartest person when it comes to devising ways to get alcohol. I am the smartest person. I will figure out a way. You will see me drinking splash, but inside you get, I was that smart. But I decided to like drop it and just become, calm. But today when it happened to me, I was like, guys, do you know who you're talking to? But I had to tell myself it's for the betterment of myself. I can't.
Yeah. And now you're definitely, coming to the point where you have control.
Yeah.
Which is the goal. And now many people, and again, like you mentioned before, you didn't have that particular control, but you've been able to work your way to the point where you actually know that I can choose. Many people don't have, you don't just wake up one day and you're there. It's
You
a journey,
don't.
it's a process, and you need a lot of support.
One thing I'm thankful
get
for
there.
is my mom. Like,
Yeah.
my mom told me one day, she was like, I see you trying, and that's enough for me, Because, like, one day I would sleep off and drink. Then, like, for the next 2 weeks, I'm sober. Then another day I sleep off, and she's like, I see you trying. Even my dad said it. Said, I can see you trying,
And I think that's most important, because when people realize that, okay, the way we treat a patient who has any other illness, right, and encourage them and support them and, be there for them, that's what we have to do for people who are struggling with addiction. And with that support, which most people unfortunately don't have, that belief, that's what's going to help them. They need to know that you have their back.
Yeah.
That you're going to stand with them no matter what, that you're going to encourage them, that you're going to support them. That's how they're going to be able to start the journey back.
So we have learned the science of addiction. We have learned how to deal with it.
Yeah. I wanted to mention a few more of the telltale signs, because it's not just the tolerance element of it. That's just one of them. So tolerance is one of those. The other is what we call craving.
Yes.
Okay. So what happens with cravings is, anything small gets you thinking about
That's cravings?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I feel the need, the urge, something happens and thinking, right now, where can I get something? Where can I get something? So if your mind continuously calls for the substance, that's a chance that you're getting. That's another sign that you're getting addicted. Tolerance. And the other is what we call withdrawal. Withdrawal means if I don't have the substance, I'm not functional.
I've seen people's hands shake.
Yeah.
I've also had my own hands shake.
Mm.
But like I had like a period where it was like 2 days and I was like,
yeah,
it's like I was convulsing while standing. And it's because I had taken 2 weeks without drinking.
Exactly. So remember, like we said, the body has become dependent. The body needs the substance to be able to function. Because think of it, if I was, let me give an example, right? If I was earning money, right? I had a job and I was earning my own money. Then I meet somebody who now just decides to give me money. Then I'm thinking, why do I need to go to work? I mean, I was going to work to get money. Now I have all the money I need.
Soft life.
So then do I need to keep going to work? It's easier to be like, you know what? I don't need to work anymore. After all, I'm now getting the money I need from here.
Yeah.
What happens when that particular supply runs short?
I think that's why, and I want to implore people, I know you're the one that should be doing this, but I implore people to do therapy. Like if you feel like because therapy has helped me a lot. If you feel like you're getting addicted or you are addicted or you have a problem, they can be like lying, like
of course, there's
backlog issues that you're dealing with, maybe stress, maybe family. Seek help.
Definitely.
Seek help, because I struggled on my own and I was dealing with a lot of problems and my family didn't understand. Whereas my mom is the one that understood. And that's why I was going to rehab, from rehab to rehab to rehab, because my mom knew how to deal with me, but I feel like it was still too much for them.
Yeah. Understand. Because they need support. They need the support too.
And I wish also, like, when I wish rehabs would offer this service whereby when I come in, you offer my family therapy support.
That's what we're supposed to do, ideally.
You get that's what should happen, because
we actually have a saying that addiction is a family disease.
It is, and it's worse for the family. You have to
support the whole family.
It's worse for the family because the family doesn't have the drug that I'm using to suppress it. So for them, they're raw dogging it, basically. Like they're just in it. So I like sometimes I look at my mom and I feel so bad because I see everything she has done. By the way, this show is sponsored by Mommy. Thank you, Mommy. This it gets sad when nobody believes in.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
and they need the support as well.
They need it.
You need to support the family as well as the individual, because there's many people, interestingly, who, family members, and they want the best for their family member. They're trying to help, but they don't know how.
They don't know how, exactly.
And they end up doing more harm
than good.
Yet they're trying in their minds, again, with good intention. But if you do not know what you're doing, you're most likely going to get it wrong. Yeah.
Well, now I want to give you a rapid fire. What are the 4 tools someone should have in order to survive? Like to survive depression, anxiety, whatever. What are the 4 tools they should have?
Let's make them 5.
Okay, 5.
Right? Let's make them 5. Because this is a common thing that we have. We call them the big 5 of mental health. Now I'm speaking about mental health in general. Because this applies to more than just addictions. But you take care of these 5 things, you're less likely to get into depression or into addictions ultimately. Number 1 on the list is sleep. Good sleep.
I sleep at 4 a.m. and I wake up at 6 a.m. Really. So I've failed with that one. That's 0 out of 5.
We need. We're still going. Sleep is very important.
Yeah.
You need about 6 to 8 hours of sleep as an adult. And that helps to protect the mind, to help the mind. Sleep, I like to say, is not a luxury. It's a biological need. It's the equivalent of eating food or drinking water, right? It's that important, essentially, for your brain and for the mind. So sleep is key. Number 2 is diet, how you eat. It's important to eat healthy, right? Eat the right foods, the right amount, at the right time. Very, very important to eat healthy. Because again, you are what you eat. and the fuel that runs your body again comes from the food that you eat. And that same applies to the mind. Number 3 is exercise, regular physical exercise. Very good for the body, even better for the mind, right? Your mind gets sharper, your mind gets clearer when you actually do regular exercise. And again, the key word there is regular, right? It's not
once in
MTN
a
marathon, right? Then I go run 10K and then till next year. No, it's regular. The recommendation is three times a week.
Okay.
At least 3 times a week. Get 30 minutes in 3 times a week regularly. You'll find that you're much more healthier and much, much better placed. Those are the 3. The 4th, meaningful relationships.
Meaningful.
Not just relationships, but meaningful relationships. When you talk about your mom, you talk about your dad. Nowadays we live in an era where we know many people, but we don't really have many friends.
Yeah.
You don't have people who, ride or die, guys who are going to stand by you and support you and want the best for you. So it's important to cultivate meaningful relationships. And that will protect you, right? Because again, go back to that experiment of the one rat in the cage and the one that had a whole pack of people. Human beings are social beings. We're designed to live in community and in families. You can't hack life alone. You just can't.
You can't.
So you need to have, a pack that you can ride with and that can help you grow and get better. That will protect you. So have meaningful relationships. And finally, number 5 is purpose, right? What are you living for? What do you believe in? What drives you? When you find something that you believe in, something that is powerful enough to wake you up in the morning, you're more likely to keep afloat.
Well, I hope you know that this Unscripted with Amal is what gets me up every morning. And you being the first guest. So you woke me up this morning. But I want to thank you I've learned a lot. I've really learned a lot. And I feel like our viewers have learned a lot. Hope you have liked, subscribed, and commented already. I feel like we've learned a lot, but I feel like I'm going to have you here again.
I definitely, we were talking about this.
Yes,
I said, wait, 30 minutes is...
It's not like... So
I would look forward to a couple more.
Yeah, so we're going to have, maybe we'll have a series about mental health.
Yeah, I think
talk about different things.
That'll be good.
But today I've learned a lot and that's great.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you.
Pleasure.
Yo, married for 5 years. Because I have been single for... like when you're single and you're not single, like where you're in the middle. But I've decided to be single. But it's not like I'm single by choice. Just that you Kampala men.
Well,
Kampala men.
Meaningful relationships, right?
Meaning. Yeah, you see that meaningful.
Some we need to.
So I just have to break up with a few of you. Well, thank you for joining us today. This has been Unscripted with Amal, and we have had Agava Dennis right here. If you want, where can they find you?
I'm at Rubaga Hospital.
Rubaga Hospital. Look for Agava Dennis. As a psychiatrist, he's great. As a Luzungo person, even me, I'm modifying my accent. So thank you guys today. Catch you guys next week. Love you.